Okay, 11.5, triangles, okay? One of our most basic shapes in geometry and how they're formed, okay? So, a triangle, right, just by definition, is going to be a figure in a plane that has 3 sides, 3 angles, and 3 vertices. That's what the word tri means. Okay, so in our figure here, this is X, Y, and Z. Okay, where 2 sides of your triangle meet are called your vertices. So this would be one vertex, this is a vertex, and this is a vertex. Okay, then the sides join 2 vertices. So this is a side, this is a side, and this is a side. And then the angles are formed by 2 sides and a vertex. So this is an angle, this is an angle, and this is an angle. Okay. We use a symbol, so we can say this is triangle X, Y, Z. You can put the letters in any order, okay? They're all the same. So that should be a Y. Okay. In a triangle, the sum of the lengths of 2 sides has to be greater than the third. Okay, and that's true for all triangles. Okay? When you have a triangle, you can classify them according to the lengths of their sides or their angle measures. Okay? So because there are 3 sides, we have 3 classifications for sides. So you can have a scalene triangle, you can have an isosceles triangle, and you can have an equilateral triangle. Okay? When you're classifying by angles, and when we classify both if we can, okay? You can have an acute triangle, you can have a right triangle, or you can have an obtuse triangle. Okay, well, what do these all mean, right? So if we go back to the sides, scalene means no sides are the same. Okay, isosceles means at least 2 are the same. And equilateral means all 3 are equal. Okay, classifying by angles, an acute triangle means all 3 angles are less than 90. A right triangle means you have exactly one angle that equals 90 degrees. And an obtuse triangle means exactly one angle is greater than 90 degrees. Okay? So a triangle cannot have 2 right angles, and a triangle cannot have 2 obtuse angles. 1 right angle or 1 obtuse, but not more than that. Okay? So when you classify a triangle, you're going to classify it by its sides and its angles. So as specific as possible. Okay? when we're looking at the sum of the angles of a triangle, we can take a triangle and tear it apart and align the three angles next to each other and fit them together to see they form a straight line. So that tells us that the sum of the angles of a triangle is always 180 degrees. Okay, no matter what the triangle is, they always add up to 180. Okay, so isosceles means at least two sides. So if it's equilateral, it's also isosceles because equilateral has three equal sides. Okay, but if it just has two, then it's not equilateral, it's just isosceles. And we can say that two angles are equal if and only if the sides opposite are equal. So what that means is that if you have two angles that are equal, the sides opposite the angles are equal, and the opposite of that. So if two sides are equal, then the angles opposite those sides are equal. That's what the if and only if means. Okay? All right, so let's use some of this to kind of solve triangles, meaning finding missing measurements. Okay? So I have three triangles. We're going to start with this one here. Tells us this side is 10, this side is 10, and this side is 17.3. This angle is 120 degrees, and then we're going to call this angle A and this angle B. Okay, it's the first one we want to solve. Then our second one here, we're going to say this is A and B again, and C here, and then all three sides are 8. Okay, so our first one, okay, what we notice is we have two sides that are the same. So we would say this is an isosceles because two are equal, not the third. And then we have 120 degrees here, so it is an obtuse angle. An isosceles obtuse triangle is what we have there. Then we want to find the values for A and B. So we notice that this side and this side are the same. So that tells us that angle A and angle B have to be the same because they're opposite equal sides. Okay? We also know that these three angles have to add up to 300 or 180, sorry. So A plus B plus 120 has to equal 180. These are the same, so we can say A plus 120 equals 180. This is true for all triangles. They all add up to 180. So in solving for A, we get 2A plus 120 equals 180. So we're going to subtract 120 from both sides. 2A equals 60 and divide by 2. So we get that A is 30 degrees and B is the same. So both A and B are 30 degrees in that first triangle. Okay? Then in our second one, we notice all three sides are the exact same. So that tells us it's equilateral. And then if the three sides are the same, that tells us that the angles opposite those sides are the same. So C and A and B have to all be equal. So this is an equilateral. We'll name it by the angle in a minute. Where A equals B equals C. Okay, so they also have to add up to 180 degrees, but they're all the same, so we can say that 3A equals 180, and then divide by 3. So A equals 60, B equals 60, and C equals 60. So we would say this is an equilateral acute triangle. because the three angles here are less than 90 degrees. Okay, and that is lesson 11.5.